Good. All right, we're getting started a little late, 6:02, February 1st. I'd like to call this meeting to order. At this time, I need approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
I'm having the right thing. Ms. Ashley, you mind leading us off?
I don't. I have time to prepare. Let's bow our heads. Lord, thank you for this day and this time together. Thank you for the opportunity to come together as a community. Just let us have wisdom in the decisions that we make, and just peace and comfort knowing that you'll guide us through whatever we have ahead of us. Just continue to bring healing to some of our wonderful commissioners and to our chairman, and just place your healing hand on them, Lord. Just protect our community, protect our law enforcement, and we just thank you for all that you do for us. We thank you for your many blessings. We ask that you just guide us in the days ahead, Lord, and again, just give us wisdom. Thank you. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Ashley, thank you very much. I'm sure did a good job. As you always do. We said she'll do it next week.
No.
All right.
You're my one.
Before we start planning and zoning, I asked Mr. Courthouse to come out. If you're here in opposition of any of these requests, you will have an opportunity to speak. So, Mr. Courthouse, if you want to start with our planning and zoning of the night.
Chairman, our first item is a request by Tamika Davis. This is to rezone about 1.5 acres from R1 to C2. Ms. Davis operates an existing daycare in the home that is located on this property. She wants to expand the size of that daycare. We allow 6 children as a conditional use. She wants to go beyond 6, so for that reason, a rezoning is required. The Planning Commission has recommended approval of this request to rezone the property from R1 to C2.
All right. Ms. Davis, you want to speak? You want to come forward, Ms. Davis? If the board's got any questions for you? You're doing fine, don't worry. Anything you want to say? You got any? Nothing? Any questions from the board?
I've got a question. How, have you heard yet how many additional, students you can have?
No, ma'am. I won't know until you guys approve it. Then the fire marshal has to come out. Then state has to come out. So it's like a whole process that I have to go through.
It's typically based on square footage, about 35 square feet per child.
And I will say, as a grandmother trying to find a place for grandchild to be babysat at that's reputable, and that's a hard thing to find right now. So I bless you for doing that.
All right.
Amen.
And like I said, I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to give you opportunity to speak. Any questions from the board? All right, anybody here tonight in opposition to this request? None?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, had. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Give Tim a minute. He's going to get his phone. Lon Shannon to put us on a 1 hour curfew.
I second that motion.
You second. We'll see what we can do.
It's mostly Jason tonight.
Lord, we're in trouble.
All right, all yours.
Apologize for that. Our next applicant was not able to be here. He asked me to call him, so I've got him on the phone. This is a request by Childers Adams. He has requested rezoning. Well, it's not a rezoning, it's an amendment to the approved PUD for River North. Because it's amending the PUD, it gets treated as a rezoning. Planning Commission has recommended approval of this request.
All right. Mr. Childers, can you hear us all right?
Yes, sir, I can.
If you want to go ahead and give us any feedback or what you'd like to do, or answer any questions, you've got that time.
Yes, sir. So as you can see, the conceptual plan submitted from Widener and Associates shows the 3 acres broken out into 4 single-family home sites .42 acres, .55 acres, .60 acres, and .65 acres, as well as a .87 acre common area. The layout of the actual homes to be constructed are on there as well, and the applicable building setback lines. So it's relatively straightforward.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Childers? Anything from the board?
I had a question of Tim, though, whenever, if you want.
Okay, let me do this and I'll go with the, all right, Mr. Childers, we're just gonna see if any opposition showed up. And, but if you got anything else you want to say?
I think that's it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is anybody in opposition to this request tonight? None?
Yes, one in the
We do-
back.
One in the back?
I just have
All right.
a question, not per se opposition.
Right,
My name is Doug Rubke. I live on Coppergate.
right.
And my property is encumbered by the covenants for this area.
Right.
Okay, my understanding is that this acreage here has never been annexed into River North. So they're not part of River North. So to access this property, they have to use the River North Road. Well, part of a multitude of covenants and stuff, I pay a fee to use that road, a kind of association fee. Is this going to generate fees for this, or are they going to annex this into River North?
Yes,
don't know
once
anything
these
about it.
lots are subdivided and formally recorded, they will be annexed into River North. River North's HOA attorney, Jenny Walker and Martin Snow, has that documentation ready to be signed.
So they'll comply with all the covenants and the fees and everything, correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
Anything else?
thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any questions for the board?
Just one to you, sir. Do you know the Widener and Associates people?
Not spelled the same way.
I know, I'm just curious.
I know you had to pick up, but it's not spelled the same.
Chairman, Tim, can you give us a brief description of what the difference between the planned unit development and maybe their covenants of River North versus our planning and zoning? Because I've gotten a couple of calls about how, I guess, why it's going to planning and zoning if it's a River North issue.
If this was a subdivision of an existing lot in any other subdivision in the county, it would be approved in-house. If it met the standards, then I would sign the plat and it would get approved. Because of this is part of River North, that's a planned unit development. It's a different zoning category that we have, and it allows for flexibility. But with that flexibility comes controls that the board looks at what happens within that development. So since they're changing this lot from 3 acres down to 4 smaller lots, and with that change taking place, then it's required to have approval by the Board of Commissioners. Gets treated the same way we treat a rezoning. We don't enforce River North's covenants. We don't know what they are. We're not bound by them. So if their covenants say that he could build multifamily dwellings on this property, we still would have to come to this board to get approval for that change, because right now, all it's slated for is single family. And so with this change, even though he's not changing the intended use of single family, but it's making that 3 acre lot smaller into 4 separate lots, needs to come to this board for approval.
And that approval is only for what this application is for single-family dwellings for individual homes.
Yes, sir, for those 4 lots. If he decides to do 5 lots, or he decides to change these into apartments, it would come back to y'all for those kind of approvals.
More questions, Commissioner Casey? This is your district, what you want to do? Throwing you under the bus.
I don't have any comment.
Motion to approve.
We got a motion, we got a second?
Wow.
We got a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I was wondering. It's your district. All right, any conversation? Everybody good? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Travers.
Thank you, Tim.
I'm the one that bumped my head.
I was gonna say, don't you be hitting your head now.
We're good, go ahead.
Got enough going on
I'm trying to get
now.
Sam on board and figure out what he's doing. Pick at him. All right,
Chairman, our next item is a request by Catherine Bryan. She has 5 acres on Round Oak Juliet Road. She's applied for a conditional use to allow a second dwelling on a lot smaller than 10 acres in size. The Planning Commission has recommended approval of this request.
okay. Ms. Brian, are you here? I said, the floor is yours, Will.
Hey. I don't really have too many questions. My son, I think, got a
So
few.
I do have a couple questions. So the plan is to build 2 houses. And right now, there's currently a mobile home there. We're gonna build 1 house now, and then like in about 2 years, probably build another house.
Sure.
So are we allowed to build 2 houses on that one lot? Because they were mentioning that the mobile home had to go after the first house.
That'd be asked him question.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he could do it.
Chairman, if they wanted to remove the mobile home, they could just build this house. We wouldn't be talking at all. This approval will give them the ability to maintain the mobile home and then have this additional dwelling built on the property. If in the future they decide to remove that mobile home and then replace it with another dwelling, we'd be back before this board asking for that approval. So at this time, the mobile home can stay there and they could build the new home if you all grant approval of this request.
All right. All right.
That'll work.
All right, any questions from the board? Anyone here tonight in opposition of this request? Commissioner Wood, this is yours.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right.
Nice having our board back together.
Chairman, our next item is a request by Michael Wilcox. He has 127 acres off of Fortville Milledgeville Road. He is wanting to subdivide that 127 acres to build an additional home on this private road. He would be making a smaller lot. Because this is being served by a substandard private road, a variance is required. This is the same road we've heard variances on in 2019 and then again in 2020. We approved variances for Mr. Saban and Mr. Adams? Yes, and then Mr. Adams on this road. Because this is a variance, there's not a recommendation from the Planning Commission.
All right. Mr. Wilcox, you want to say anything to the board tonight?
I do have access. This is a variance to this 127 acres. However, it will tie into another additional 40 acres and join Haddock Drive. So currently, the 30 acres has a small loan on it. When that loan is paid off, these two will go together, and they'll have road access. However, I'm going to take out 3 acres and put a house going back to the Fortville Road.
Any question from the board? Any opposition tonight for this request? If none, Commissioner Wood, this is yours.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's all our zoning tonight, isn't it? Thank you, Tim. All right. What we got, board appointments, appoint Ms. Brooks to a board of assessors for a 6-year term. Who's handling that? Sam?
Oh,
There you go.
okay, yeah, Ms. Brooks filled out application. I think all of her qualifications are in order. She has experience with Board of Assessors and with executive management for quite a while. And just recommending appointment to the Board of Assessors.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? If none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. All right, we move on to our, we had January, Mayor, we'll move on to January work session. We had the third Tuesday, we had executive session and a call meeting, all within the 18th and the 20th. If y'all had opportunity to look at the minutes, if so, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye? Aye. All right. New business, P and Z, Mr. Petrowski. Did he leave?
He bolted on us.
He bolted on it? Does Tim know he's got a,
You're gonna get the paperwork one at a time.
uh-oh.
Go to number 2 till we come back. Oh,
Well, here he comes. Thank you, Tim. Shannon said we're getting out of here at 7 o'clock. We will see.
Can we move my office closer to here?
A little closer.
Need a
Sorry about
courier.
Yeah, or just remember to bring my stuff. Chairman, this is in response to a conversation we had a few months ago about the possibility of combining the Planning Commission and the Board of Appeals and Adjustments. Done some research on that and came up with 3 potential options for us to look at. I'm recommending option number 2, where we would merge the Planning Commission and the Board of Appeals and Adjustments. There's a small change we could make to the zoning regulations to actually just have those both boards become one, or we could appoint the individuals to both boards at the same time. You have my recommendations there to help fill in these gaps, and we can go from there.
Any questions for Mr. Petrowski?
Just comment, Chairman, we've talked about this with our struggles to get, qualified people on boards and to, the interest on board. So I think it's a good idea. And whether we, let them play out at the end of the terms or vote now to combine the boards, I'm good either way.
Can I get that in a motion to?
Make a motion that we accept recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Director to combine the P&Z Board and the Appeals Board.
Got a motion, we got a second?
And with the payment,
With the increase of payments for the stipend to the current board members of, and I don't know the numbers, but it basically combines the 2 boards, right? The
Yes, sir.
stipend for each one
Yes, sir.
goes to it, so.
Got a motion, do we have a second? Fail of a second?
Can I have a question?
If
well,
I can get a-
second, and
If I
then
can get
we'll,
a second
then there
first.
can be discussion.
I'm not trying to be hard either. I just need a second. You can change
A
your mind.
second.
Okay, I got a second now.
Discuss.
I had recently discussed with an individual about replacing your planning and zoning board member that is vacating. And I have somebody willing to do your planning and zoning board. I don't know if he would be willing to also be on your appeals board.
Well, it would all be one, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
But do you, if you combine the 2, would you still have vacancies? Because right now you got 1 vacancy on each board, correct?
We would have enough people to fill all the vacancies if we combined the board. We'd have an excess of people at that point.
so what would you do with the excess person?
They would no longer be needed. So each commissioner would need to decide which of their representatives they would choose to keep, if they had 2 currently.
But we have 2 expiring in March, so
Yes.
you're not gonna have that problem for long.
Yeah, we got some vacancies coming up, but we also got some vacancies we need to fill on other avenues that we can possibly, see if they'd be interested in such service.
And there are a lot of places that have done this because of it's hard to find people to serve on boards.
Right, I'm just worried about any, how the boards are separated now, if any conflicts of interest, that they each have their own realm of control and, whatnot. I'm just concerned about that and just don't want to jump the gun, but then again, I know how hard it is to find personnel to serve in these capacities.
What are your thoughts
So,
about that,
challenges.
Tim, as far as if there would be any conflicts of interest in them hearing both?
I don't see a conflict of interest, because the Board of Appeals does not hear appeals of decisions by the Planning Commission.
Right, I know they do two different.
But they do use different mindsets. The Planning Commission is using one set of standards, and then the Board of Appeals is a completely different function, and they use a different set of standards in evaluating the crust. They're approaching it from the attitude of, the law applies to everybody, but there's a specific reason why it shouldn't apply in this case.
Correct. I'm just wondering how that would play out in the day-to-day P&Z world.
The hearing itself, I envision, we would hold the Board of Appeals hearing, then that board would adjourn, and then they would convene as the Planning Commission, and then hold their hearing there at one right after the other. That way there would be a kind of break.
Separation.
Yeah, in that mindset. It wouldn't be hearing both matters at the same time. If I had a situation that involved a variance and a rezoning, we would hear the variance, make that decision, then if that got approved, then they would proceed into the rezoning.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you.
Question? No, we're ready for a vote?
Motion to approve.
We've already got that.
Okay, for a second.
Second.
Okay.
All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
I got one.
So my question at that point would be, then the commissioners are going to need to evaluate which person they want to take, and then go ahead and appoint those individuals to this board, so that we now have a full five-person board again.
And we can go and see what, we've got some other areas that we need some help in, so we, we can reach out, see if they'll be willing to fill in those areas, because like I said, there ain't a whole lot of people running up to help.
If we could possibly get that in the next 2 weeks, then at your next meeting, then that have everything taken care of for our next
Sure.
planning commission hearing.
All right, do that. All right, thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Mr. White, we got some, clock repair.
Place repair.
Repair.
Hey, board, how y'all doing? I'm looking for approval to get our courthouse clock changed over from the old gearbox style to a new modern electric clock. It'll be just the inside workings, the face on everything will be the same, just not the big heavy-duty gearbox and arms and bearings, and we're averaging $2,500 to $3,000 a year on that clock. Just wanting to get approval on replacing that to where we can get that cost down. Average, he charges, he comes twice, it's $500 per visit to check the oil levels and all that. But when he comes, it's always another $1,000 to $1,500. We do have another $2,000 part to change in the next 12 months, is what he's told me. So, and, I just would like to go ahead and nip this at the bud.
This is on your threshold, isn't it? You just need a blessing from the board.
The issue I have is, and I think we've got an email on it, that it's on the historical register.
Right.
So it's under some sort of protections, and I don't know what they are for that courthouse, but I think we need to find that out before we start doing any work.
The inner workings, all that was changed out in 2005.
Oh.
I don't know who authorized all that or what's for my time, but then the old clockwork and all that's down in the building, in the recycle building. So I don't know. I did speak with Eileen, and she would like to see that put back, but I don't have a clue what that would cost to do.
So if the guy's work is, and I know the guy you're talking about is the only guy that does it, he's out of Florida,
Right.
and he does historical clocks, but if he's coming up here working on a retrofitted clock, why are we paying historical cost to work on it? It should be surely we didn't go to another historical clock, and if we did, we're still under the same
No, the
issues
bell
that we
and all is
have.
replaced. The bell is actually in the front of the courthouse now. All that's
Right.
been taken out.
We just need to look and see what was authorized and what was approved to do, because when we agreed to have it or put it on the historical register, it's different being in a historical district and being on the National Historic Register. You agree to certain things when you do that. I don't think it's.
Right.
I mean, I got an issue with voting to do something against what we voted to do in the past, in that sense. So I would say let's contact the authorities on that and find out,
Okay.
what we can and can't do as far as.
Because the outside facing of the clock itself, you will see no changes, correct?
Right. It's just the inner workings on the inside.
And a lot of them, the Historical Society understands that you can't always have a 1920 model something working. So the way they word it is you have to replicate that time-specific model. So we may be able to go to an electric motor. It may just have to resemble and have the inner workings of a 1920s clock, just replicated in a modern day technology.
So here's my question. When did the courthouse get on the list? And at the time it was on the list, did they know that this retrofit had happened already?
I'm sure it was on there before 2005.
I did get a call from, I'm trying to think the gentleman that used to work on the Clark back in the day. He was retired, lives on Stewart Avenue, but needless to say, Thornton, Mr. Thornton, well, he actually contacted me to let me know that there were some parts that needed to go back into the courthouse so it could stay with the original clock. So it would, I think, well, he sent it to you, so. I don't know.
Yeah, we still got it.
But it was supposed to go back into the original clock so that they had all the old parts there to be, on site, even though it's not, able to be used anymore.
Right.
If you can get, I mean, if we can get the approval from, to make sure we got the courthouse covered that way, we can go from there, I will see.
Okay,
All right.
that's what we'll do. Thank
If
you.
you want to bring it back to board, we'll be glad to look at it that way.
Got
We got everybody covered, how's that?
Yep.
All right.
So
1980?
let's have a motion to
Yes.
postpone.
Motion to postpone the courthouse clock repair proposal until we get more information.
She's getting,
Second.
got to be faster than she is. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
And Jason just shared that it was listed in 1980?
Okay,
So it's been on there 40 years plus.
Mr. Risner, you got a bypass safety?
All right. And this was kind of an idea from Commissioner Wood. I don't know if you want to kind of talk about that, or I'm happy to if you'd rather me.
I'll let you lead off, and I'll assist you as needed.
All right. So let's see if I can find it here. A few meetings back, Commissioner Wood and others talked about some safety issues with the bypass, and had a thought about sending GDOT a formal resolution asking that they address some of those issues, specifically lighting, and then in conversation just between Commissioner Wood and I talked a little bit about the 18 West intersection. There were two bad wrecks there on Friday, I believe, and so added that to the list. And so you have in your book the proposed resolution there that would ask GDOT to look at street lighting at 4 spots, and then the issues there at that 18 West intersection.
Correct. It will be the Highway 22, the Highway 11 spur, Oliver Green, Old 18, and then I believe the 18 West intersection, which is pretty busy. The street illumination at each one of those, and then some type of caution flashing lights at where the ends at Highway 22 and the bypass. Just, safety first there. But I think this is very good.
The wording on it, old Highway 11, old needs to be taken out.
Okay.
It needs to go down to old Highway 18.
Intersection.
West intersection.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's Highway 18 intersection, old Highway 18 West intersection,
Okay.
Correct.
and
All
then
right.
Highway 18 West.
That's
Okay.
right. Right, just a little bit of whatever we need to do.
Yeah. and If the board wants to approve it subject to those changes, we can make those before getting you to sign it and send it off.
Okay. Motion to approve, subject to these few minor changes.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Risner, we got again on the Chapman Field wiring.
So this is an item that was discussed back during budget time. Chapman Field is in the old part of the Morris Bank Recreation Complex. There are issues there with the field lights, and frankly, time has gotten away from me, and here we are right before baseball season. As it stands right now, they cannot use it at night. And the estimate that we got previously to do that work was about $17,000. And just considering the time crunch, I wanted to ask the board if you would be amenable to waiving the bid requirements on that, so we can go ahead and get that done. I'm afraid if we go through the complete bid process, by the time you award and order materials and get somebody in there, the season will be over, so.
Using sponsorship fund also is what you're planning on using?
That was on the next item, on the batting cage.
I got ahead of you.
Didn't we already kind of have a roundabout idea what that was gonna cost for us on the Chapman Field?
And the money was approved and allocated in the budget, so,
Right.
so all
I remember
that's squared
was one
away.
of them.
You know, if you don't want to go that way, that approach, we may be able to do it after if you do the first reading of the purchasing ordinance tonight, the second reading in a couple weeks, you know, we could potentially have it done early March, probably, and maybe be done in time for the beginning of the season. It wouldn't be available for practices, but
What's the board's thought?
If it's legal to do it now, I'm all for it, because we're only pushing it back 2 or 3 weeks to when our ordinances are going into effect, and we've already, you know, made the motion to change our ordinances where this wouldn't be an issue 3 weeks from now or a month from now. And just knowing what it's gonna take to get the materials, I don't know that we would have it by ball season, so. If it's okay to do it, I'd make a motion to approve foregoing the bid process for the 17,000.
We got a second?
That was a legal question before we
Well,
second.
You gotta get a second,
think-
then we'll go for the legal.
Yeah.
Second.
Second, okay.
So you can argue time constraints is gonna get you around the bid requirement, but additionally, if what we are paying out to the contractor is under the threshold, then we're fine with that, on top of the time
Minus material
constraints.
cost.
That's right, and it would be. So I'm comfortable with you all moving
So
forward.
technically, we could buy the materials.
Buy the materials
ourselves and pay
directly,
the
yeah.
contract.
Yeah, and that's what you all would need to do.
All right. Any discussion?
Do I need to adjust my motion?
Yes.
That we would purchase materials and pay for the labor to install.
So this is
I need
amended
a
motion.
Amended motion.
Need you amend.
Second.
Second. on
Amend
amendment.
my second.
All right, any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay, make sure you got quiet on me.
So you are aye or
I think he's
nay?
trying to solicit some of these ayes and nays. I feel like it.
He's wearing all black over here
I'm not
today, too.
getting, I'm not
feeling
getting real
kinda-
fast, I'm making sure, any time to, all right, now we can go to the sponsorship on the, was it the batting cages?
Yes, sir. So we have right now over at Highway 18 Complex, sort of in the newer part of the park, some batting cages that were constructed a year, maybe a year and a half or so ago, with some of the sponsorship funds that were raised from the various sponsors there at the park. There are some pictures in your book there of those. What I would like to do, so right now it's lined with just PVC pipe and it's filled with screenings. There are drainage issues in one side of it, so anytime you get any kind of rain, half of it fills up with water. And there are some other improvements I would like to make there in terms of the height of the poles and painting the poles and that type of thing. The primary thing I wanted to ask you all about tonight was, so we just awarded the bid for the basketball courts down at 49. We asked the contractor that won that work if he would be willing to give us the same unit cost, per square foot cost to pour a concrete pad here. And there's some drainage things there that we definitely have to address. We can address those in-house, but the cost that he gave us was $15,000 to pour a pad that would be large enough to basically cover the area you see there inside that PVC pipe. And so my request to you is to use $15,000 out of those sponsorship funds to improve that batting cage with the poured concrete surface there.
That was the low bidder. Did he say he would give us the same? Really, you all would do it as sort of a work change order.
Yeah.
Same.
Different locations, work change order.
Still do your rec. I think you still got an argument as to your rec complexes. And it's such a small area, you can get it at the low bid price. You could do a work change order instead of like a entirely new project.
Just to finish it and do it right, because it never was done right to start with.
Yeah, I understand the right part of it. I'm just concerned about the right way in terms of, it's a bid for a specific project, and this is at an entirely different location doing something different. That's the legal part of
You can
it.
go back out to bid if
No.
you're comfortable with it.
You're the attorney if it's legal.
Yeah, did they say they would do it at the low bid price?
Yes, he did. And so the unit cost or the per square foot cost from the basketball court supplied here comes out to about $15,000.
It was coming out of sponsorship.
Yeah, we've got about 34,000 in that sponsorship fund account that we could use to pay for it. So,
And y'all have already approved, I mean, you've got to read the ordinances, but you've already approved that under 25,000. I'm comfortable with it. Are you comfortable
Okay, as
with
long
it?
as you're good, 'cause
Materials.
you're gonna defend all of us.
Yeah.
in this process.
So have I got a motion for you too? Have I got a motion from you too?
Where's this park located?
Mine.
Which corner is it at?
Oh, it's in mine.
All right, Wendy, love.
The work change order.
I make a motion to make the work change order, to complete the pad for the
That day.
batting cages
Low bid
and
price.
pickleball courts. No, I didn't really say that.
Second.
All right, I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second? A second, okay. Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
I am fixing to ask that question though.
All right.
Where's pickleball at on this list of, things we doing?
So I've got a list in my office of,
That one's going out to bid.
That's good.
yeah.
Oh, wow. See what they did?
So I,
Oh, I've already got 6 bids on it.
it's
Sent
not
it
on
to
the
him, so
agenda.
I've done that work for him.
So I've got a list in my office of things that we have sort of in the queue to bid out, and there are 14 things on there. And so we're gradually working through them, and a few of those are stuff that Tim will be primarily handling, but that does not include the water tank and all the 14 doesn't include the water tank and the water line improvements and that kind of stuff. So there's really even a few more things that I need to add to that list. So going with this approach, it sure does help from that standpoint.
So I got some paint for the lines at the pickleball court. If I bring them, can we get Parks and Recs to paint the lines?
Yeah,
That-
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. you got it.
That was donated by a pickleball.
Now they'll get covered up when they resurface.
We
You
don't
think
care,
they'll
they
be okay?
can't see the lines now, so they're
Okay.
trying to paint them.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
no.
you do that in-house.
Right.
Mr. House. Jason, you want to go and start the first reading of the?
Yes, sir. So you have before you the ordinance that would amend Section 2-142 of the Code of Jones County. And basically what I did here was, all the language you see there is what's in the code now. If you scroll down to page 44 there, I just highlighted what I changed. And so I struck through the 99.99 and inserted 24,999 and then 25,000 and above there. And then in the chart that we have there, I made those same changes. And then down below, there was some language about the county administrator could waive bid and proposal requirements for purchases of up to $99.99, cases of emergency or inappropriate for competitive bidding or time constraints, et cetera. So I just changed those, in those two paragraphs, I changed the amounts to reflect the same thing as above.
Any questions? Entertain a motion?
Motion to approve the first reading of the purchasing ordinance revision.
Got a motion, we got a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? No, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Everybody got it? All right, Mr. White, one more time. We could have done this, kept you up there, couldn't we?
We had Clark and Associates looking at the roof repair for us. He wanted to handle more of paying the people that does the work and all this, and I told him all we wanted him to do was just quote or give us what we needed for our roof.
Right.
Yeah, and he hasn't returned my phone calls. Me and Jason talked, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Me and Jason talked earlier. We did go ahead and initially got 3 quotes on it. Do we need to take that verbiage of those and try to check references on those companies? And, I mean, I'm just kind of looking for a little direction.
We had talked about, you know, if we sort of took what we got from those 3, put together an RFP, sent it out, with a heavy emphasis on references, even more so than normal maybe, so that we've got plenty of people to call and say, that have used that particular product and say, hey, you know, you used this 8 years ago, how's your roof holding up? You used it 10 years ago, how's your roof holding up? That kind of thing. Other than that, you know, we're not well positioned to kind of evaluate those different products and what might work and what might not.
Right.
So that's kind of the best we've been able to come up with, you know, given the you know, situation with the consultant there. So
And it seemed like it's just dragging out, you know, but we need to get them moving on making something happen.
Have we talked to previous operations for Jones County, Earl Colvin, in companies that he has used for Jones County schools for roofing? And not only that, he's also a consultant with Parish Construction, which does the school buildings and all of who they have. Because this is truly an old school building.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And a lot of those guys may, I mean, have we thought about that?
You got
Yeah,
any
well,
contacts?
Oh, yeah, plenty of them.
Yeah, I
And
can
there's
get-
other roofing consultants too. I will want caution though. He's probably looking for a percentage of total cost for project admin.
Exactly.
I would highly recommend, if we don't know how the product is, then we don't know how they're applying it. And 90% of a roof project is how it's applied and how it's put on. So if we do get into a situation where we have to go back against a warranty or a manufacturer, we don't have the expertise to say that was not applied right to warranty. The manufacturer's going to say the product's there. And then it's us against an installer that says, manufacturer says it's right, that's your problem, not mine. I have a nightmare story about the health department in Bibb County, one of the first projects I worked on.
Wow.
And we wound up in the Supreme Court of Georgia for
Jesus.
a roofing project
Wow.
against a manufacturer. So it's a huge deal if you, I mean, he's probably wanting 2 or 3% for design, 2 or 3% for admin,
Right.
construction admin. Big scheme of things, it's probably a small amount to pay, but maybe get another
Roofing consultant. Look
roofing
at it.
consultant. We got plenty
That's
there,
right.
but there are plenty of roofers that do. I don't know I don't even know what's up there. Modified.
It's a
bitumen?
standing seam roof. It's metal roof, yep. We talked, me and Commissioner Wood talked about the silicone. I think that's what he did on the
It's
gym. And
like EPDM, it's something
Yeah, yeah,
similar, but
yeah.
it's different.
Yeah,
There's so many
yes.
applications.
Right.
I'd
We
be
just want
real-
something that's going to last.
Yeah, and I'd be real careful about. I mean, we can put out a great spec. I mean, I can get you a spec for any roof that you want tomorrow. I got
Right.
them cataloged, but
Yep.
I wouldn't. I mean, I don't even do our own. I don't oversee our roofing
Right.
projects. We are a consultant
Yeah.
just for that reason.
Yeah.
Very
So
specialized.
I don't want to fight against a roofing contractor whether you put it in or not the
Yeah.
right way.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like when I told him that, he was just like, he just backed off, you know.
Yeah, because you're asking him
It wasn't as
to.
valuable to him.
Well, you're asking him to design a product and then have no say so over. You know, if the job goes south, it's his name.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
he-
gotcha. Okay. Okay.
So, we need to get a clarification for motion to go forward on this.
My recommendation would be let me get with Donald and give him some
Contacts.
contacts on roofers and consultants and come back to the drawing board. I mean, we don't have any major leaks that we need it right now, do we? Yeah.
I will talk with Earl too.
Yeah.
See what contacts he may have.
If I can get a quick motion
Motion to postpone number 1 under old business until we get some more information.
Second.
second. Any more discussion? If none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Stay right there. I'm gonna let you do department head while you're here.
What? Department heads?
Department head, you got anything for tonight?
I do. And Tim probably knows this too. President's Day weekend, they're gonna do, according to Tim, I mean not Tim, but according to Keith Roberts, they're gonna try to get this wired in our generator. So, and that's pending that everything works out right. But yeah, we're excited about that, getting that took care of. So.
All right, thank you. Mr. Risner, you got anything?
I'll rattle off some things real quick, if that's all right.
Go for it.
If Shannon throws anything in, if you
Shannon
just
said you got
jump in
10
the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our redistricting legislation has been introduced in the State House. If anyone wants to follow that through the process, it's House Bill 1071. Our LMIG application was completed and submitted today. The State Fiscal Recovery Fund, which is the pot of money that we applied for some water and sewer projects, they are starting to announce awards. They did broadband today. I didn't see anything on that list that impacts Jones County, but hopefully water and sewer will be soon behind that. We are actively compiling all the info for our bond issuance for the water expansion. Right now, we're on track to have a closing of that towards the end of March. So we would have that money in hand at the end of March and be ready to go with those. We're working with the consultant on the rate study, sending him all sorts of information, and we should have an initial review of the financial model he's developing later this week to take a look at. One Georgia, you're all aware that we got the $500,000 there for the sewer to the industrial part. We're signing documents, sending all that back, and we'll be rebidding that project this month. So, and then I was also going to mention to you that we had $270,000 worth of SPOS collections in the most recent month, and when we put that SPOS together, we were counting on 170 a month. So. SPOS collections have been very strong. So,
Good.
All right, thank you.
that's all I have.
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing? Shannon? How about citizen comments tonight?
I'm Jerry Rowland. I live at 370 Homer Roberts. You're talking about traffic safety. The intersection of Homer Roberts and Graham Road and Gray Highway needs to be looked at. We had 2 wrecks within an hour here a couple weeks ago.
Right.
So,
We've had some fatalities there too.
yeah, we've had 1 fatality.
And we had a traffic report done, what, a year and a half ago, and DOT still says it doesn't qualify for a traffic light.
Well, they need to try to get out there during rush hour.
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's a lot of it's just impatient drivers is
Yeah.
mainly what it is.
It's
But
it's a terrible place, and they did it a few years back, and we talked with Jason. I had several complaints, and we asked them to go back and look at it again, and even with the Dollar General there, still, that increased traffic still said,
What's heartbreaking about those accidents the other day that were back to back, the young lady that lost her life, her mother was one of the victims in one of the vehicles for one of the accidents. So, one family has been affected by 2 wrecks in that one location and loss of life.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else tonight? Citizen comment? Commissioner Martin, you want to start off tonight?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we've been playing with the roads program for a while, and I want to have a legitimate work session on roads, so I'd like to set that up in the next month or so. And I know we're talking about it, adding consultants and doing a huge road study, but just want to make sure we put that on the books. Workforce development, I know you've probably been out of it for a little bit, but let's get an update on where we are as a county.
I got a great for you, just didn't have it tonight.
I got you.
We got a success story. A young lady's wrote in, and she's planning on making a career out of it here in Jones County.
Excellent.
And you just got to bear with me. Me and my emails aren't doing too good at working together yet, but I'm gonna get them work.
All right. And just have him get us an update on, what our service levels look like for Jones County. And then regionally, because we're a bedroom community, so we work everywhere else. So we like to know where those opportunities are. And then we have this issue with placing people on boards. We have over 28,000 people that live here. We should not have this problem. So let's tap into the chamber. Let's tap into the other leadership entities. Let's reach out to the churches and all those. And as a part of those leadership development opportunities, let's prepare people to lead this county. Because at the end of the day, some of us are going to retire. Some of us are going to age out. Not you. You're going to be here for a long time. But we need to start.
I hope so.
Yeah, we need to start succession planning.
Here lately, but
Yeah.
I ain't planning on going nowhere if I can help it.
Amen. But we do need to start succession planning because we don't want to overburden anybody with a lot of work, especially if they're new, and give them an opportunity. Recent college grads, those are great opportunities for them to get involved. And if we have student leaders who, have graduated and meet the requirements, whatever the age requirements are for those boards, let's get them in. I'd rather have a body that's interested than a body that we just plucked. Okay, so that's all I got. Look forward to some good work over the next year, and hopefully get these guys into some strategic planning so they can craft vision for the county.
No?
Nothing.
Boy. Commissioner Wood?
Just wait till later.
I don't have anything other than just checking on the Haddock Street lights and speed bumps that we'd spoken of. I hope they're in the bid process. It's been a few months and just checking on that.
Yes, they're on my giant list.
Hopefully they're near the top.
Yes.
I get calls frequently. Thank you.
Just no pressure.
Hey, I got Smith Road for you.
I appreciate it.
You wasn't here. I thought it for you.
She did it all by herself, too. It's
Well, I got a
amazing.
list too on my stuff moved up to the top. So.
Hey, I kept doing this through the meeting.
So, no, Chairman, my only question was, we had talked about it with the water project, with the money for starting the major water project, and we were gonna start on, Sand Creek. So I know we had talked about, at one point, purchasing the material so that as the money came in, we would start the project, so we weren't waiting on bidding it based on supply chains and cost and everything else. So I don't know that we ever gave them authority to bid that out, the 30-day to put it out for bid. Did we?
I don't know that we did, but the issue that we had with going ahead and bidding and getting material here, is we have no secure
storage.
place to store it. With the cost of stuff, especially the metal, the fire hydrants, the valves, the fittings, whatnot, every job we have, they're walking off every day.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that, we got a 30-day that we got to advertise, and then we got to evaluate, and we got to award the bid, and then we got to go to the next meeting. I just don't want to wait that 2 months, but because we got residents that don't have water. So I don't, when the money gets here, we need to time it, back it up 6-8 weeks so that we time it. When the money gets here, we got the product coming in the same time, so everything flows. Because I still get calls at least once a week that when we literally, and I know we've got it in other places in the county, but we got residents that are running water hose to the neighbor's house to get water at their house or carrying water too. So
Yeah, I think we're right there now, at 60 days out from having money, and so yeah, I think the time is good for all that.
Yeah, we're looking to close on that bond late March.
So I don't think we need a motion on that. I think that's an administrative thing. Chairman could say, yeah, put it out to bid, because we'd have to approve the bids when they come back anyway,
You
right?
can't motion right now anyway.
This is not on the agenda.
Right.
We'll work on it.
But yeah, administratively, prep it up,
Yeah. Are you ready?
get it ready.
That's it?
That's all I got, Chairman. Thank
You
you.
realize we're gonna have
We're not. Has everybody said something?
Yeah,
So,
we're out, no executive session.
Yes, there is an executive session issue that has come to light after the close of the agenda. This board is allowed to go into executive session for a legally exempt matter, even though it's not on the agenda, as long as the board votes to do so, if a matter has come to light that needs to be addressed during the meeting.
Well, I need a motion to
Add an executive session for personnel
I make a motion to add.
and legal.
I make a motion to add executive session for personnel and legal.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Man, thank you. Thank you, everybody. We just about got in here.
So close.
So, we got a motion to go into
Oh,
executive
adjourn,
session.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
You're with it
Yeah,
today.
excuse us, kicking folks out in the open meeting.
I miss that one thing.